Hi guys, hopefully you can see me. Today we're going to continue lesson 6 and 4/10. Don't know if you can see me or not, but you'll see me in a minute. The teachers, 5th grade teachers are in a meeting this morning, so I want you to be on your best behavior, please, okay? And I don't want us to waste any time, so I'm going to go ahead and teach the lesson, and I videoed it, so you can follow along and make sure we get all of our lessons done for today, okay? Okay, hold on for a second. You will need your math notebook.
Julia Salter to the cafeteria to go
Okay.
home. Julia Salter to the cafeteria to go home.
And let's see, let me just move this in. So you'll need your math notebook, and we're going to be on the lesson we were on yesterday, which was this little folded up piece of paper, 6 and 4/10. So I'm going to just zoom it back in so you can see. We're on question type 4. So yesterday we did question type 1, which was the select all, and you had to find the equivalent answers. Question type 2, which was the area. Question type 3, which was the basic word problems. And now we're going to get a little more tricky, okay? A little trickier. Not too hard, but just pay attention. So yesterday we talked about Dominic's, the 12 cupcakes, but let's say today Dominic has 24 cupcakes and he gives 3/4 of them to the class. Now, typically when we think of gives, we think of subtraction, but tomorrow I'm going to show you why it's not subtraction, okay? But today we're just going to just understand that today it's multiplication. Even if you don't understand why, it's still multiplication. Part of the reason that it's multiplication is because he gives 3/4 of all of them. So it's a fraction of all. He's not giving a fraction of one cupcake. He's not cutting a cupcake up into 4 pieces and giving 3 pieces of one cupcake to the class. If so, that would be a tiny little smidgen for each of us, and you know how I like chocolate. So he's giving 3/4 of all, which is a fraction of the whole amount, to the class. How many cupcakes does Dominic have left? Well, yesterday we would have just done this, 3/4 of 24. That equals how many he gave.
I need Amy Quintero and Madeline Juarez to the cafeteria to go
But
home.
we want how many cupcakes Dominic has left. So this is a little trickier. So let's think about it. If we have 4/4, okay, this is one whole. Okay, and we give away 3/4 of them. How many did we not give away? 1/4, right? That's called a part-part model. Let me show you again. If I have, just say example, I have 5 of something. The total is 5, and I have 3 here. How much would be over here? It would be 2, because 2 would be what is left over. So if I am using 2/5, what would be, this is what I'm using, what would I be left over with? Well, the leftover part would be 3/5, because 2 plus 3 equals 5/5. Do you see? So this would be the leftover amount. So what we are going to do is we're not going to multiply what he gave, we're going to multiply what he has left over. So we know that if he's giving 3/4 of them away, then 1/4 is what he has left over. And then I would just solve that like usual. So what would I do to solve this? Step 1, I know you guys know it. Step 1 is to do what? Convert all numbers to fractions. So this, I don't even need to do this one now. But this one I need to do. This is a fraction, this is not. So now I need to convert that. So that's going to be 1/4 times 24th over 1. How did I make that a fraction? I just put a 1 as a denominator. 1 times 24 is 24. 4 times 1 is 4. What is 24 divided by 4? Well, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. So 6 cupcakes left over. Let me show you another way you could have done this problem, okay? And I want you to make sure you follow along on an exit ticket or in your notebook. Hopefully you didn't take up as much room as I did. Okay, so say I wanted to do this problem again. Dominic has 24 cupcakes and he gives 3/4 of them to the class. How many does he have left? So this is the total minus what he gave equals leftover. Okay? I cannot do 24 minus 3/4 because he didn't give 3/4 of one cupcake away. He gave 3/4 of all the cupcakes. So what I would really have to do is 3/4 times 24 to figure out how many cupcakes he gave away. But we're not going to do that, okay? I'm going to figure out instead what he didn't give. So if he gave 3/4, what would be left over? Well, a whole is 4/4. So what would be left over to make this? Well, 3 plus 1 would be 4/4. And that would give me, so I know the leftover part is 1/4. So I could then just multiply the leftover times the 24, and it gets me my 6 cupcakes. The other option is this, and this is a lot more work. I'm gonna have to figure out what he did give. So we know he gave 3/4 of the cupcakes away. So that equals 3/4 over 24 over 1. You don't have to do this part, you can just watch. Okay? 3 times 24 is 72. 4 times 1 is 4. Now I'm going to divide that, and I just happen to know that 4 goes into 7 one time, and there would be 32 left over. So 4 goes into 4, 16, 18 cupcakes that he gave away. But that's not my answer. My answer is what does he has left over? So now I have to take 24, what he had, minus 18, what he gave, to find out what he has left. 6 left over. Do you see how much more work this is? In this case, I'm taking what he gave, multiplying it, figuring out my answer, and then having to take it away with what he has left over. But this way is just a lot easier because here he has 24 cupcakes, and instead of giving away 3/4, I'm going to find out what he did not give. Because if he gave away 3/4, he did not give 1/4, which means that I have 6 cupcakes left over. Okay, so let's try this again with number 2. Mrs. Nickerson had 6.5 candy bars. Mr. Loera steals 1/4 of them. How many does Mrs. Nickerson have left? Again, I want to know what I have left over. So what I had is 6.5. Mr. Loera stole 1/4 of them. Did he steal 1/4 of one candy bar? Or did he steal 1/4 of all the candy bars? He stole 1/4 of all. So Mr. Loera took, what was stolen was 1/4 of 6.5. But I don't need to know what amount is stolen. I need to know what amount is left over. So what I had was 6.5. What Mr. Loera stole was 1/4 times 6.5. What would be left over? Well, let's look. This is 1 whole, and I have 1/4 of it. That's what was stolen. What was left over? 3 out of how many pieces? 3/4, because 1/4 plus 3/4 equals 4/4. So now all I would do is 3/4 times 6.5. Can I multiply it like that? No, I can't. I have to convert. So go ahead and pause this video, convert this, come back and check your answer. Pause it. Okay. Hopefully you went ahead and solved it. So now I have 3/4. I can't solve it like that. 6 times 2 is 12 plus 1 is 13/2. This is finding out what's left over. 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 13 should have been 39. I could have left it like that, or I could have converted it. Let's see, 8 can go into 39 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16, 32. And then it has 7/8 left over. That's my leftover. Let's see if we're right. Okay. We had 6.5 candy bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have all of this, all of this, all of this, all of this. I'm just cutting them in half because my last one's cut in half. I don't have that. So we have 6.5 candy bars. Mr. Loera takes how much? 1/4 of each of them. That means I have to cut each of these into 4s. So now I have 4 pieces instead of 2 pieces. I have 4 pieces. He takes 1 out of 4th, 1 out of 4. So how many does it take out of this one? He takes away that one, which leaves me with 3/4. Same is going to be for this one. He's going to leave me with 3/4. 3/4, because there's 1, 2, 3 pieces left. This one's going to be 3/4. This one's going to be 3/4. This one's going to be 3/4, because he's going to take 1/4 out of each of them. Now this one, I can't do yet because I don't have enough pieces. I only have this, right? So I need to actually cut this into 1/8. So he's taking 1 out of 4. So I have 1, 2, 3 out of 8 left over. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. 18/4 plus 3/8, which I can't do because this is adding and subtracting. I need common denominators. (39/8),
I need Isabella
which
to go
should
home,
be
Kathy
what we
to
came
go
up with.
home, Isabella
Now,
to go
obviously, this
home,
is a lot
Kathy
harder.
to go home.
Okay? Not harder, but it's just a lot more time consuming. But this is showing you what you're doing. I want you to really, really, really think about what we're doing and re-watch this, because I know what I'm teaching right now is a little complicated, okay? But I really need you to watch and pay attention. Let's try number 3. Mrs. Nickerson has 6.5 candy bars. She gives Mr. Ballinger 1/3 of them and then eats 1/4 of the rest. Now, how many candy bars does Mrs. Nickerson have left? So now, not only am I giving some away, but I'm also eating some. So let's see, I had 6.5. I gave Mr. Ballinger how much? 1/3, which means I did not give how much? If I gave 1/3, what did I not give? 2/3, right? I can't do this part yet because I still have to figure out how much I had left over after Mr. Ballinger. So let's do leftovers after Mr. B equals 6.5 times 2/3, because that's what I did not give him. Okay, you're gonna have to convert and multiply, so go ahead and do that. Pause this and do that. If you're just watching, you're not gonna learn. You need to pause and do it. So hopefully you converted this. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 1 is 13/2 times 2/3, which is gonna give me 26/6. That's what I did not eat. Now that was step 1. Step 2 is I ate 1/4 of the rest. But how many candy bars did I have left? So I eat 1/4. What did I not eat? If I ate 1/4, what did I not eat? Well, let's see, there's 4, and I ate 1 of them. If I ate 1 out of the 4, how many did I not eat? 3 out of the 4. So in order to find out what's left over for me, I have to take what I had, 26/6 times 3/4, and see what's left over now. And it's going to be a little bit bigger of a number. So go ahead and solve this. Pause it and solve it. My denominator should be 24. My numerator should be 78. Let me see. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 2 is 78. Yep. And I can turn this back into a mixed number. So 24, this would be 3.
Clean up for dismissal of 21st
Right?
century, and you can start
25 would be
heading
75 cents. This is 72
Thank
cents,
you.
or 72. So then I would have 6 24ths left. 3 and 6 24ths left. All right, I'm gonna have you now try number 4. It is a little tricky, but I'm gonna give you the steps. So let's see what she does. Mrs. Villante has 3 gallons of milk. She uses half of the milk to make hot chocolate. She uses 2/3 of the remaining milk to make cookies. How many does she have left over? So I know that I don't want to find out how much I use. I want to find out how much I have left over. Okay, so let's figure out how we're going to write this up first. Mrs. Villante, she has 3 gallons of milk. She uses how much? Half of all, which means she does not use how much? If there's half and she uses 1 out of the 2, how many does she not use? She also does not use 1/2. So step 1 is to take 1/2 of 3 gallons. That was step 1. Now step 2 is how many gallons of milk does she have left over after making hot chocolate and cookies? So now she uses 2/3 of the remaining milk to make cookies. So this is hot chocolate, okay? Now down here is going to be cookies. She uses 2/3 for cookies, which means she does not use how much? If she uses 2/3 out of 3, there's 2 of them, and she uses 2, how many's left over? 1 out of 3. So this would give me my answer, and then I take that answer up there and I multiply it by 1/3. And that should give me my final answer of leftovers, leftover milk. It's a little confusing, but I want you to think about it this way. If I have, oh, of course. Hold on, sorry. Here's 5/5, right? 5/5 makes 1 whole. Okay? 5/5 makes 1 whole. We agree with that. So anytime I use something, if I use 2/5, what did I not use? If I use these, I did not use this. So in order to find my leftovers, I can just multiply what I did not use times what I used. Otherwise, I have to do all this hard work where I have to subtract and do all that. And I don't want to do that. Okay? So I'm going to figure out the amount I did not use and multiply it that way. Now tomorrow we're going to find out why these are multiplication problems and not subtractions. Okay? But all you have to think about right now is the parts I used versus the parts I did not use. Okay? And we're going to practice those. I'm going to give you a couple practice problems in the book, the practice book to do now. So they will be listed in the assignment next. All right? All right. Good luck, guys. I'll see you in a little bit.